From South Carolina Public Radio, this is the South Carolina Lede. I'm your host, Gavin Jackson, and this episode was recorded on July 16th, 2025 at South Carolina Public Radio Studios here in Columbia. Yes, you heard that. We're recording this on Wednesday because I'm out of town. So we're not going to have all the news of this week, but up to Wednesday we have that news. So we had some big stuff in this episode, including the convergence of 2026 campaign coverage and 2028 pseudo-campaign coverage. That's right, this will be a common theme for the next, at least year. In the 2026 column, we look at Lieutenant Governor Pamela Evette's campaign launch for her gubernatorial bid. And in the shadow realm of 2028, the campaign column we're looking at there, Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear made a multi-day swing through South Carolina. And we caught up with him in #Greenville.
Sounds interesting.
Check the hashtag. The Lede loves hearing from everyone. That's why we have a voicemail box set up at 803-563-7169. Give us a shout. Let us know what you think about the never-ending campaign trail. And if we get to see you all out and about on it, we would love to see you guys. And we'll be roaming around. I saw some folks at the Gavin Newsom event or Democratic convention. Flag me down, you'll see me. I have a mustache, so it's confusing for now, but driving the Durango. The Outback drives itself. 803-563-7169. Let us know what vehicle you're driving right now. It better be an Outback. And then there were three.
Number three.
That's right. Along with Attorney General Alan Wilson and recently embattled Spartanburg Senator Josh Kimbrell, we have a third candidate in the race for the Republican gubernatorial nomination, Lieutenant Governor Pamela Evette. Not Evette, Evette. Learn now, folks. She has officially entered the chat.
My fellow South Carolinians, today is day one of my campaign for governor of South Carolina.
Evette gathered close to some 1,000 supporters. I would say it seemed like a lot at Judson Mill and #Greenville. I'm telling you, I was up in Greenville this week. And what was probably the most polished campaign launch to date. And I can say that having talked to some folks that have been at all the launches so far and also seen campaigns in my dreams and in my nightmares for years. But this was complete with a red carpeted stage flanked by American and South Carolina flags. There were signs saying, "Keep South Carolina great," and a playlist, as well as lighting and a press riser. So the video and still cameras could easily see and hear her. That's kind of the entire premise of these launches, guys. You want to make it look as good as possible for the cameras. It's what it is. It's 2025. Welcome to the party. But Evette was introduced by Karen Floyd, who is well known in Republican circles since she was a former Spartanburg County Councilwoman. She was the first and only woman to serve as South Carolina GOP chair and was a chief magistrate for the 7th Judicial Circuit. Just a little bit more background on Karen. She recruited then State House member Nikki Haley, you ever heard of her?
Yes.
To run for governor, as well as State Representative Tim Scott. Ever heard of him?
Yes.
To run for the 1st Congressional District. Both won those races, and Haley later appointed Scott to the Senate following Senator Jim DeMint stepping down to run the Heritage Foundation. That's politics, baby, and Floyd is plugged in, still is, and now she's backing Pam Evette for governor.
I've watched politicians for the last 40 years, and they fall into two categories. There are those that aspire, they grope, they climb, they're not happy where they are, and they're looking for the path forward. And then there are those that are servant leaders. And Pamela Evette is a servant leader. She ascended, ladies and gentlemen. She sold her company, a company with a revenue of over $1 billion. And guess what? She chose to serve. Much like President Donald Trump, these people actually lose more than they gain to lead. And that is what you want for a governor.
Now, Floyd wasn't the only high-profile face at that launch. Also spotted in the crowd by my eyes were several House lawmakers, including House Majority Leader Davey Hyatt from Pickens County. There was Ways and Means Chairman Bruce Bannister from up in Greenville, as well as Representatives Mike Burns, Case Britton, Cal Forrest, and Melissa Aremus, to name a few. as well as one senator, Jason Elliott, who's also from Greenville. Now, attendance doesn't necessarily equal endorsements. In fact, I talked to Jason Elliott. He's not endorsing yet. He's just looking at the field. But Hyatt is. He told WIS's Mary Green that he is all in on Pam. Now, Evette in her remarks mentioned her strong relationship with McMaster, who she's been with since running with him in 2018. As an even-handed newcomer to politics who has grown into her role as the second in command over the years, she's looking to build off of McMaster's accomplished legislative legacy.
From the very beginning, Governor McMaster and I worked as a team, banning sanctuary cities, standing firm with law enforcement, protecting life, defending your Second Amendment rights, fighting for parental rights, and assuring men could never, and I mean never, compete in women's sports. Governor McMaster trusted me from day one to be more than a ceremonial lieutenant governor. He made me his partner in governance. He empowered me to focus on critical issues that impact businesses and families. And today, I stand before you as a mother, a conservative businesswoman, and a fighter who is ready on day one to continue that conservative legacy as your next governor.
Now let's rewind. Let's hop in the time machine. Okay, easy. Whoa. This thing needs a tune-up. You don't want to blow the transmission on the time machine. Trust me. But let's head back to November 2017 when Governor McMaster announced Evette as his running mate. This was the first time a governor was able to pick their lieutenant governor following a change to the Constitution by voters the year before. McMaster plucked Evette out of relative obscurity to run alongside him. Somewhat of a gamble for someone who has never been in politics like Evette, but maybe not so much for McMaster, who has been involved in it for decades. During that introduction, I sat down with Evette and McMaster, who had just ascended from lieutenant governor to governor in January following Haley's Senate confirmation as U.S. ambassador to the United Nations. Here's what he told me about why he was drawn to Evette.
Well, I've been in government, in and out of government, been in practicing, been a lawyer for over 40 years now, and spent some of that time in public office. And I've spent 8 years as Attorney General, 2 years as Lieutenant Governor, and now 1 year as Governor. So on the state side, I've been able to see how the government operates and how the Governor's office operates and the Lieutenant Governor's office. And the people spoke when they amended the Constitution in the last election, saying they wanted the Governor and the Lieutenant Governor to work as a team. So having had that experience and understanding what the people want, which is the same thing that we ought to be doing, I was considering who would be the right running mate, the right candidate, and the right lieutenant governor to work with me. And all signs pointed to Pamela Evette. When I met Pamela and understood her background, her family, and met her family and her business background and great success and deep experience in business, oftentimes having to navigate through government regulations and taxes and those sorts of things. I thought she was exactly the right candidate for right now in South Carolina, when we need those kind of skills to complement others, to be sure that the momentum that we are making in economic development, bringing jobs and happiness to people all over the state, that we need to keep that going. And I believe she'll be a strong advocate and a strong person to help deliver that.
And she does kind of give you a little bit of a contrast to your political career, 30 plus years in political outsider. Is that an advantage for you, in your opinion? That
I think it's a big advantage. I think her experience in business around the country and her experience in building her business, which is what we want people to do in South Carolina. We want the children to stay here and build businesses and live and learn in South Carolina. I think that is a very important asset to have, and that's precisely what Pamela has done. So yes, that's a very important qualification, I believe, an asset.
So again, two big names associated with Evette here, McMaster, who she's been with since 2018, and Karen Floyd, who's been watching her since then as well. So a lot of names floating around with Evette, a lot of big support. But who is she? Well, Pam Evette is originally from Ohio, something possible candidate Congresswoman Nancy Mace has made light of, despite the fact that the state is full of transplants, like you and me, AT, including Mace, who's not from here originally. Now, Evette also gave McMaster a strong connection to the upstate, with Evette residing in Travelers Rest, a hamlet in the heavily Republican Greenville County, a county that McMaster didn't actually carry in the 2018 primary, falling to upstate conservative businessman Maureen John Warren. But McMaster did carry Horry County, which counterbalanced that loss. She has also been closely aligned with Trump and is painting herself in a similar light.
I have fully supported every one of President Trump's campaigns. I said earlier, I've been all in since day one. I've raised millions of dollars. I've traveled the country as a surrogate. I've endorsed him at every opportunity. And I have never wavered in my support for the America First movement, not one single day. I didn't wait to see how the political winds would blow to endorse him. I didn't attack him on social media and then flip-flop because I needed to save my political career. I endorsed him before I stepped into public service because it was the right thing to do for our country. And now, with President Trump back in the White House, South Carolina needs a governor who has his trust, a governor who doesn't need to build a relationship, a governor who can pick up the phone and get things done for South Carolina because that relationship already exists.
Yes, sharp-eared listeners heard at least one dig at potential gubernatorial candidate Congresswoman Nancy Mace in reference to that flip-flop on social media. You may/will remember in 2022 when Mace filmed a video outside of Trump Tower in New York touting her early support for Trump in the 2016 campaign. But she had previously called him out on multiple media outlets following the January 6th insurrection attempt, which was a time that catapulted her into the national scene. But Evette also threw out some red meat issues, including on transgender issues that Congresswoman Mace has made central to her political career.
I have signed paychecks, I have balanced budgets, I've created good-paying jobs, and I did it all while raising 3 wonderful children with my husband, David, teaching them principled, Christian, not to mention South Carolina values. The kind of values liberal elitists mock us for. The kind of values that are common sense. Like there are 2 genders, only 2, male and female. Like men shouldn't compete in girls' sports or use women's bathrooms. Like illegal immigrants are breaking the law and need to be deported.
Keeping with Mace, she is reportedly thinking of launching her bid in August, though it remains to be seen, especially after she told the Associated Press in January that at the time she was, quote, weeks away, quote, from making a decision. The biggest challenge for Evette is name recognition, though with deep pockets and her campaign saying it raised $1 million in 24 hours, well, you'll be learning that name in no time leading up to the 2026 primary next June. From Republicans to Democrats, from 2026 to the Shadow 2028 campaign. The Shadow. A big name in Democratic circles is Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear, who spoke before a crowd of more than 60 union representatives at the South Carolina AFL-CIO convention in Greenville on July 16th. Beshear, a rising star in the Democratic Party, has been elected governor twice in the solidly Republican state, first by a slim margin in 2019 and then by roughly 6 points in 2023. Mind you, what Beshear did in Kentucky is something that he says Democrats in other solid Republican states, like South Carolina, can do if they focus on not just criticizing the Trump administration's policies, but emphasize how they will impact health care in rural communities, for example, and other day concerns to win elections.
This is how we win back areas that have felt forgotten by the Democratic Party. And we have a huge opportunity right now. See, Donald Trump is tearing apart our democratic norms. He's gutting the social safety net. He's weaponizing our National Guards. He's fraying our international alliances, and he is decimating our intelligence community and our public health expertise. So we can seize that middle and win back voters who have been increasingly skeptical of that Democratic brand. But it's going to take focus, and it's going to take discipline. We've got to talk to people and not at them. And we have to explain our why. This is how I won areas in eastern Kentucky, Appalachia, that normally vote for Republicans by large margins. That includes Breathitt County in Appalachia, which is the county J.D. Vance pretends he's from. Donald Trump won that county by 56 points. I won it by 22 points the year before. So I know that we can win. I know we can win in tough areas. And that's about explaining that why. For me, my why is my faith. I believe in the golden rule that says I love my neighbor as myself, and the parable of the Good Samaritan that says everyone is my neighbor.
Beshear's messaging was in line with that of other governors that have visited the state over the past few weeks, including Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, Maryland Governor Wes Moore, and recently, California Governor Gavin Newsom. You see what I'm talking about? The shadow campaign? Are you guys listening to this podcast? Now, Beshear was in town as part of a 2-day swing through the state, which coincides with, now here's the real reason he's here, his son's baseball tournament in the Low Country.
Oh, how you doing?
I'm not making this up, but it is a twofer. So why not do some low-key pseudo-campaign work while you're on the ground? Why not? But you're asking me, Gavin, you talking all this talk. Is he actually thinking about a run? Well, this is what he said when a reporter asked him during a press gaggle following his remarks.
I'm here in South Carolina this week for 3 reasons. The AFL invited me, the Georgetown Dems invited me, and my son has a baseball tournament here at the end of the weekend in South Carolina. But I'm also traveling more. I'm traveling more because I'm trying to be a common sense, common ground, get things done type of voice that can pull not just Democrats back together, but hopefully pull Republicans and independents together too, and say let's focus on these everyday needs of Americans. Let's depoliticize them and get people results. My focus is that this year. Next year I'm head of the Democratic Governors Association. And because of these very painful Medicaid cuts, we're going to win in a lot of places that people don't expect.
Now, talking directly to others with common sense language in places where they are isn't necessarily a new concept, but it's one he says Democrats need to replicate if they have any chance of winning 2026 or 2028. I asked him if he plans to visit the state more, even if there aren't baseball tournaments involved.
What you're going to see me is in a lot of places where we believe we can elect a Democratic governor or where we have that seat that can flip. I'm more active right now in congressional races than I have ever been. Why? Because a lack of a couple seats were the difference between that big ugly bill passing and not. And we've got to do everything we can in the next couple of years to win enough elections and to create enough pressure to undo it before these cuts to health care are irreversible.
But Governor, just to follow up really quick, when we see like our state versus your state, do you think what you did in Kentucky can be replicated in other southern states? I mean, we're not North Carolina, we're not Georgia, we're solidly red South Carolina. How do you do that here?
My state went to Donald Trump by 30 points, and I won re-election by 5. The way that we win, and it's not just Democrats, I wish Republicans would do it too, is focusing on those everyday concerns that Americans have. That's their job, their next doctor's appointment, the roads and bridges they drive, the school they drop their kids at, and whether they feel safe in their community. And I don't mind saying what I think the secret sauce is out loud to how you win in challenging places, because if more people of all parties would put their focus there, we wouldn't move a country to the right or the left, we'd just move it forward for everyone.
So do Democrats need to listen to you more then maybe?
Yes.
So you heard there my last follow-up question, which did elicit the obvious yes and some laughs from my peers. But what I probably should have asked was, why aren't more Democrats doing this? Again, Beshear's been in office since 2019 and was reelected in 2023. But it doesn't seem like anyone else used his playbook, in our state at least. Maybe they will now that he's going to be hitting the trails. But I was covering this event not just by myself, but South Carolina Public Radio's Mayon Schechter was there as well, who asked him whether South Carolina should stay first on the Democratic presidential primary calendar like it was in 2024.
Well, being a Southern Democrat, I think that we need to make sure that the South is represented in the primary calendar for the Democratic Party. For too long, investments haven't been made in places like Kentucky and in places like South Carolina. And where South Carolina is right now, make sure that all potential candidates learn more about sometimes the unique challenges that we face, but also get invested in every single state.
Okay, so a broad answer there. But moving on, in some U.S. Senate campaign news, Democrat Lee Johnson ended his long-shot, short-lived campaign for the Democratic nomination for that Senate race, challenging Lindsey Graham. In a statement, Johnson said, quote, "As the Democratic primary has taken shape, it has become clear that now is the time for unity. I've had honest conversations with supporters, community leaders, friends, and family. And after deep reflection, I've decided to suspend my campaign for the United States Senate," quote. We got to get a cannon fire. Cannon fire, please. Thank you. That's the Hunger Game cannon. This is what happens. We play this when people drop out or they get eliminated from campaigns. Got to keep this fresh. Got to keep this interesting for you people. But this news also comes after fellow Democrat Dr. Annie Andrews announced a $1.2 million haul in the first month of her campaign. But just as a comparison, remember, Lieutenant Governor Evette raised about that much in 24 hours. Ew. So again, when we're talking about Democrats versus Republicans statewide in the state, that is another little example of how this works for Democrats here. And real quick before we go, a little economics. As the summer heats up, so have inflation numbers. The Consumer Price Index, which is a broad-based indicator of prices for goods and services, increased 0.3% in June, putting the 12-month inflation rate at 2.7%, which was somewhat in line with Wall Street expectations, but also going up. Not what Chair Powell wants. Now, the Bureau of Labor Statistics also noted that core inflation, which removes volatile food and energy prices, picked up 0.2% on the month as well. Now, this report comes as the effects of the sporadic rollout of Trump's tariffs are felt across the country and the world. Welcome to the wind down section, our little break from the news. We're glad you're here, along with lead podcast producer A.T. Shire. Hello.
Hello.
A.T.
This is what my voice sounds like on a Wednesday. Okay?
Oh,
yeah. A midweek voice, really tough.
It's like you can hear it, folks. Can't you just hear it right? It's like a frog in the throat.
This is Gavin's fault. It's probably the Subaru's fault, if you ask me.
It's definitely to blame for a lot lately.
Yeah, it's so much. Who am I talking to, the Subaru or Gavin?
Depends if I'm wearing socks with my
That's right.
Birkenstocks.
You got Bombas on? Show me if you got Bombas on.
Yeah. I'll be like, oh no, it's cool. You're like, he's been swapped.
It's so bad.
He's
it's not
wearing
just
socks with
It's like
Birkenstocks.
tube socks. It's not just regular socks.
And I've never owned Birkenstocks. Full stop. Period.
Okay.
Exclamation
I'm
point.
going to say.
Never will.
I'm going to say.
Never will.
You could own the regular Birkenstock, and I wouldn't think anything of it, you know?
Any of them.
The sandal one.
Yes.
If we're talking about the closed-toe clog.
All the above, but yes.
The closed-toe clog is uglier than any Croc has ever been.
Stupid.
It looks like sort of a flesh Croc, you know what I mean?
And I don't like that.
No, I don't like it at all.
You'd have to use the gray. You'd have to go gray, but even still.
I don't think you can do it.
And everyone's every time I've seen one of recent, they're always a little too clean.
Of late.
You know, if you're going to be wearing them, if you're like really a Birkenstock person,
you gotta
I want to
wear
see
'em in.
some worn ones.
Yeah,
and these
yeah.
are all just like, I would wear as many Crocs as you want to throw at me before I
agree.
put a Birkenstock.
I agree, and that's someone as a Croc wearer and as someone who would wear an ugly thing on my feet if it were comfortable. The thing is, these aren't comfortable.
Even if they were, if
they're
they weren't.
hard.
Yeah,
they're hard.
Well, and that's another footwear trend that I think is going on is the boat shoe
footwear
situation.
trend.
I have boat shoes, but I don't wear them as much as I used to because I wear other slides.
A lot of slides. But Gavin, I'm glad you brought up fashion because I have a take here. Today, in today's day and age, when you want to go buy a shirt at a brewery you like or a concert that you like.
Or a shoe.
Or a shoe, but mostly I'm talking about shirts here.
Oh, okay, but hear me out shoes.
They are these like already soft, pre-broken in shirts.
Which I like.
I hate them.
Yes.
I hate these shirts. They are not made to last. So I'm here today to bring up beefy tee supremacy.
Oh, God.
I love a beefy tee. Whatever happened to America?
Hanes beefy tee.
Yes, and you have to wash and wear this thing, 78 times
At least.
before it's comfortable. But then it is the greatest shirt that you have in your arsenal.
I don't know if I've ever reached that level of softness via the beefy tee 70 wash route.
You
The
have
good thing
to.
is that, yes, it's not probably leaching microplastics that some of these other ones are because they're softer
It's
because
made
it's
of
all
plastic.
polyester.
It is
yeah.
plastic.
But I had some of those soft ones too,
I hate
specifically
them.
from the company Homage, which is in Ohio. Like
Never
I have
heard
some
of it,
Kent
never heard of
State great shirts, but they're soft too. They've hung in there. But I know what you mean because then they start pilling, and it's not the same thing.
They don't last.
You know, I'm not the biggest T-shirt guy either.
I know. If we're being honest, Gavin,
I hope so.
these pre-broken in shirts, it's verging on stolen valor. Okay.
Stolen cotton.
It is stolen valor because it's pretending that you've done this legwork.
Well, no, that's where maybe I kind of disagree because I think the softness factor is just a comfort, and we all know you can't put a price on comfort.
Unless it's the clogs. Yeah.
But I will agree with you when it comes to like the pre-distressed look. That's that's the stolen valor
buying
aspect.
Jeans that not that have holes in them, but are like worn. You know what I mean?
And I do like, I don't have that many jeans, but I do keep them for years. Like I tried to keep my Volkswagen Passat until it died on me.
All original.
That's what happens when you replace things, folks. You just want to see more beefy tees in the wild.
I want to see them out there. I want it as an option, as something that I can do the work. It is like jeans as opposed to these stretchy jeans and everything. Buying like real denim and working them in and then getting the very comfortable jeans. It's the same with the shirts, folks.
Yeah.
Get back to it. Ask for it. Stop getting these shirts that like you have them for 3 years and you wash them enough and then they just sort of sag and fall apart, you know?
Well, I also
That
do like
sucks.
to be able to shrink. I don't like the pre-shrunk ones. I'll agree with you on that because I want to shrink the crap out of them myself.
We had this problem solved. We created a new problem for ourselves.
We had a lot of problems solved.
We had it solved. The answer was beefy tees. They are great. I have a deep
Somebody
collection.
get this man. Send us a beefy tee,
please.
1041 George
XL.
Rogers Boulevard,
XL.
Columbia, South Carolina.
XL's beefy as you got it. If you have one, and there are some that I've felt that are exceptionally beefy.
Lead Beefy Tee contest, folks. It's starting right now. We already know we have lead, laugh, love as a catchphrase, but what do you want to see on a lead Beefy Tee? Could be yours. We can mass
if
produce
you
these.
have the lowest thread count beefiest tee in the world,
be abrasive.
I would like to see it. Okay, I want it to verge on sandpaper, folks. Okay, with that thought in mind, have a good weekend, folks. Okay, Gavin, outro.
Let us know your Beefy Tee story. 803-563-7169. Maybe you're wearing a t-shirt right now. Call us. Also, you can leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. We love that as well. And stay up to date with the latest news on scetv.org and southcarolinapublicradio.org. And don't forget to support your local newspapers. The South Carolina Lede is a production of South Carolina Public Radio. Our producer is A.T. Shire. Amy Crouch is our supervising producer. Sean Birch is our executive producer. Amanda Allen is our intern. This podcast is produced with support from PRX and is made possible in part by a grant from the John S. and James L. Knight Foundation, as well as listener contributions to the ETV Endowment of South Carolina. For the South Carolina Lede, I'm Gavin Jackson. Be well, South Carolina.
Gavin, do you want one of these tiramisu mochis? I'm going to come give you one.
Open your mouth.
No answer. Yeah.
Just open your mouth.
I'm just going to come give you one real quick.